So this is the conclusion to the story I left everybody hanging with about going to meet my family.
So what made you decide to go and meet them?
Okay, there's like two reasons. Because I didn't want to. Right off, I go, I don't need this. I already lived a life. It had enough rough stuff in it, emotional challenges, and I just thought, I don't want to do that. But for two reasons. One was because I thought, what an adventure. What an interesting adventure for somebody to have happen to them. Go meet these people.
Adventure.
It was an adventure, yes it was. And the other was because every time I said I didn't want to do it, people like you and my own children and other people who would have been curious were inclined to have me go somehow, to encourage me and tell me that I should go and meet these people. And I go, well, it's a good adventure, and people that I care about say I should do it.
And did you let them know you were coming?
No. No, I wanted more control than that. I didn't. There was something at threat that a lot of people don't understand, that I had made up an identity. I had taken an esoteric concept of like living angel and said, I'm going to be that, because I didn't have the roots. I didn't have those people. And I had liberty to pick any identity I wanted, and I had picked this star seed. I'm a star seed. And so I had chosen that, and just about the time I go, you can choose your own identity, then they say, hey, over here, we're your natural people. And I'm like, I don't need natural people. I have this thing I've already done. I've already constructed. So that was that threat. Like, it's a delusion that I was making into a reality, and this family, these people professing to be the real people, my real people, threatened that in belief, because all of a sudden, did I have to believe I was from these people? And
What were your emotions? Were they fluctuating? Were you...
yeah, I was getting more nervous. I thought I had a handle on it. I thought I'd go, okay, you can still be what you believe, this ideal of a earth angel, or you can go there. That's what I thought. I thought, okay, I can just go there, and they don't know what I believe, and I can just keep believing what I believe. But then the closer I got, the more I go, this is real, and everybody's going to endorse it. They're going to say, no, it's okay. Wake up from your dream. These are your real people. And then I found out, I went to the Black History, African American History Museum, and I remembered what my mother had taught me about identity. And I remember not wanting that, because I didn't want to be descended from slavery and be of the oppressed people. And so I was always walking that tightrope in my belief of who I was. And I didn't want to be it. But this guy's like, hey, yeah, we don't have a root, and you got, you're part of a legacy of people sold into slavery and abused. And I remember that, and I thought, well, that's one real root that I had to deal with, because I've lived in brown skin. So I was going to be offended if these people that I came upon that call themselves my real family didn't understand that there's a real plight that happens just from how you look.
Well, being brown absolutely did matter, because that was the reason for you being, well, half the reason for you being put out by Grandpa.
Yeah. And I was thinking, if you guys are going to downplay this, it's not going to work out good. So I was hoping that people would receive that, and they did. They totally did. They totally did.
Good.
I go, wow, here's a lady I never knew, and she's my aunt. And so
Okay, so then we spent that first day with her in her living room, and you talked a lot about yourself that day.
Yeah.
A lot. And, you know, I know she wanted to hear it, but how did that feel for you to spill all those beans on the first day?
Yeah, you know, I figured that's what they wanted. Okay, so they contacted me, and they wanted to know me, and I always want to tell about me. I do, sure. I got a story to tell. It was a rough story, but I made it through, and I feel pretty good about it. I made up this identity, which I don't share with people. I just be it. But, I mean, you know, but sharing my story is vulnerable. I mean, I know that my story goes, oh man, bummer for you. Oh, bummer for you. But I share it anyway, and I watch from inside, and she absorbed it really well. She you know, stayed quiet, and I thought, here I go. I'm going to keep going then. Here's the whole story, and I tell my whole story. And when I got done, I didn't feel too vulnerable. Not too bad.
Really? Because you talked to me about that afterwards.
Well, I did.
Time.
I felt much more vulnerable after telling the whole family my story.
And some of them brought you the gift of their presence and their attention, and some of them brought you physical gifts.
Yes, that was funny. So I got an African sword, an antique African sword from my cousin, who was born just a few days from when I was born. And my mother, she was deceased, but we all know. Okay, so but my mother used to take him places and tell him that he reminded her of where her son would be or what he would be doing. And so he felt that he needed to at least let me know that. Okay, so he comes to meet me, and he had watched the video about my challenge with the black roots, and so he brought me this antique African sword and an antique war club, African war club, and he says to me, he goes, man, you know, after I saw your video, I thought, oh, I got the perfect thing for him. He goes, because I was going to give you like this Bowie knife, like white man give Indian Bowie knife. He goes, no, I got something right for you, man. And he had this already. And so he did. He fixed me up, and it made me smile. And I had to let him know that I go, man, I'm not that radical of a black guy or attitude. But I wanted to let you guys know so that I didn't get rejected in that part of my world.
And he wanted to let you know that he was acknowledging and celebrating your natural roots.
He thought about it. It was so flattering because he thought about it, and he rose to the occasion. And then he had this cake made with the words roots on the top. Yeah.
Everybody was great, I thought. You know, nobody was rejecting or...
No, not of me.
No weird attitudes.
You know, the cool thing is, even people who probably wouldn't normally have come together came together because they came to meet me. So
you were the celebrity.
Yeah, and that was very, very cool and very warming. Too much food. food, talk food. That's a lot of it.
A lot of
Uncles that never come around except for like the funerals and weddings came. They came from a ways to see me.
How'd that make you feel?
That was, I had to check that out. I go, do you guys, I asked my cousins, I said, how often do these guys come? They go, oh, they haven't been since the funeral. Oh, no, we don't see them very often. And I go, oh, okay. And so I felt like way special because they came from hours away and stayed in town and came out to see me and took me to dinner.
Jumping to the conclusion of the visit then, how did it feel to you to drive away from that family?
To drive away, I had to buckle back into my self-professed identity. I like it so much better. I just like me being this thing that's a better thing than I used to be all the time. I'm trying, and I'm conscious of that, and I'm wrestling with this being this identity that I choose that's always better. And if I look back at that too much, where I came from and those folks, they're kind of stuck in this spot of believing they're who they are, believing they're from that beginning and that course they went. And I didn't have it, and I don't have to take it necessarily.
No, I think it's important to realize that your roots and your identity are, you're talking about the past and the present.
Mm-hmm.
So you still get to choose whoever you are. You still get to choose your identity.
You know, but it doesn't seem like everybody knew that. It just doesn't seem like everybody knew that. And that's what I'm always afraid of. I go, you know, it took me a while to be insecure and search for belonging and find out that belonging is just a belief. You just believe you belong, along with some people that choose to help you believe you belong to their group or whatever. And it doesn't mean that's it. Because I've come back out of situations over and over and go, I wanted to belong. I wanted to be like those people. I tried to be like those people. And then found out they could let you go. They could send you back into that, no, you don't belong with us thing.
Or you could choose to go and not go back.
And I mean, I've done both.
So suffice it to say, situations can end. So you can't latch too hard on.
Yes.
Don't attach your mind's ego too much to one identity.
Yeah. And I was that was what I was afraid of, that I'd want these people, and I'd want this natural, easy to understand identity, because it was presented to me. But it wasn't really presented to me. Your identity comes from the things you go through and the things you do and the choices you make.
Mm-hmm.
And then how you move forward and what you believe about whether you're going to get better and hone your skills, or, you know, all that's part of your identity. And when you start to choose it yourself, you're a little bit vulnerable, because not everybody will choose the same beliefs about you as you do.
But kudos to you for doing all that. It took a lot of bravery to be that vulnerable. And, you know, like Brene Brown talks about vulnerability and how you can't truly experience the cornucopia of life unless you allow yourself to be vulnerable. And you did.
Yeah.
And look at all the experiences you gained from this.
You know, I don't think I could have done it without you there.
Oh.
You know that. You know that. You gave me strength. You ran interference. You did the things. You stood back when you needed to. You encouraged me when I needed it.
Well, thank you for the credit, but I think the credit is all yours.
You know it's true.
What did we learn about the country on our trip? Oh.
Can I say?
Yes, you can say.
I can't. Can I say?
You be truthful.
You know?
But there's no Democrat flag.
There needs to be a Democrat flag. Or at least not a Democrat flag, but a not that
Not that flag.
Not that flag.